Welcome back everyone. If you are new to this channel, in this channel every week I basically give my weekly portfolio update. For this week I am going to share what's my portfolio update look like, and I'm also going to share my thoughts about Amazon layoffs, and also I'm going to share my thoughts on a company which is a very sci-fi-ish company and where I have got a huge returns in last 6 months. So let's get started. Alright, so this is one of my US portfolio which you can see in my screen, and I have got a XIRR of 50%, which is quite a lot. And this portfolio has been like for 1 year or so, and I'm using vested finance from India to do so. And as you can see, like there are four companies I'm basically invested in: ASML, Amazon, Uber, and BMNR. And I'm going to talk about two of these companies in this video. And about the XIRR which I have got for this last 1 year or so, as you can see, it's pretty good XIRR, and I think it's not going to last. It's like pretty outlierish kind of XIRR. I think my target is somewhere near 20% or 25%. So I'm quite happy with this XIRR. So as you can see, these are the four companies which I have invested in this portfolio, and you can see there is some good gains, especially for two companies. One is for Uber and another is for the ASML. And I'm going to basically tell about my thesis, like why I have invested on ASML on this video in very detail. But there is another company which is Amazon, and as you can see in Amazon I have a gain of around 12% in a year or so, and I think this gain is actually very less compared to what its potential is. And I think there's a lot of room to grow in future, and that's why I am still investing in Amazon. And on the other news, Amazon is going through a lot of layoffs. So this is the web page for from Reuter journal. Basically what it is telling is like there has been a huge Amazon layoff, and as you can see, it's written like the figure represents a small percentage of Amazon's 1.55 million total employees, but nearly 10% of its roughly 350,000 corporate employees. This would mark Amazon's largest job cut since late 2022, which has started to eliminate around 27,000 positions. So there has been a lot of news like Amazon is going to lay off around 30,000 employees or so, and which is actually quite sad and unfortunate. But as an investor, sometimes these kind of news can be emotional for investor if your job is getting impacted by this kind of news. But as an investor, we have to stay unbiased, and sometimes these kind of things can actually work good also for company, or it can work bad also for the company, right? So in this case, I think kind of market is kind of pricing it very good. As you can see from this chart, like actually Amazon is up 1% today after disclosing this news, which is actually bullish for the market as investors are thinking. So I am not concerned much for the long-term growth of this company due to layoffs, but it's unfortunate that lot many people has been impacted due to this. Also, this is one more piece of news from Amazon last week, and as you can see, like Amazon is planning to replace its 600,000 US workers with robots. And mind it, like these workers are kind of blue colored workers, and the recent layoffs is happening on the white colored jobs. So Amazon is laying both the blue colored jobs and white colored jobs, right? So this is another piece of news. As you can see, like Amazon's robot might soon deliver your packages. Yeah, that's crazy actually. And that's happening, you know. Amazon, what it's planning is like in June 25, Amazon began testing humanoid delivery robots at an indoor facility in San Francisco known as the Humanoid Park. The robots are being trained to exit Rivian electric vehicle vans. So if you don't know, Rivian electric vans are basically EV vehicles which are very popular in US market. And then the robots basically walk to a doorstep and complete the delivery just like human. So that's like very crazy thing which is Amazon is planning to do. And I think all this kind of the replacement of workers with robots and this delivery robots, all these things, if you connect, you can understand Amazon is planning to become the largest robotics company in the future. And I think robots usage and adoption in the future is going to exponentially rise throughout the world, and I think Amazon is going to be the biggest beneficiary for this robotics revolution, right? So I'm very bullish on Amazon. So as promised, there is another company which I got huge returns, and that is ASML. As you can see, ASML has given me gains of 45% in last, I think, 1 year or so. So I am extremely bullish on ASML, though I am not buying it aggressively. I have bought it so much in the last quite few months, but currently I'm just holding it. So as we all know, like currently there's a AI boom going on and there's a lot of demand for semiconductors, right? So if we want to understand the value chain of semiconductors, what happens is like Nvidia is the king, which is kind of providing the GPU and hardware for all the AI companies like ChatGPT, I mean OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini, Google, right? But these GPUs are basically given by Nvidia, and Nvidia basically designed the chip which is used on those GPUs, but they themselves don't kind of manufacture the chips. They just give the chip design to a company, might be TSMC or something, and TSMC basically through their designs given by their client, which is basically Nvidia, they manufacture the chips which are going to be used on the GPUs, right? And all these GPUs which are using these chips, this each chips basically use billions and billions of transistors. And if you are not aware of the scale of this, like each transistors are basically scale in terms of scale of a human hair, it's like 100,000 times smaller than human hair. So a human hair is typically like 100,000 nanometer, 50,000 nanometer, but this each transistor in this chips scales to around some nanometer kind of scale. And you can just imagine there are billions of transistor like this in a single chip. And in this atomic scale, there is only one kind of machine which can actually use to kind of embed those circuitry in the atomic scale, and that machines are so unique in the world, and these machines are basically getting manufactured by ASML. There are a lot of other companies which does that, but ASML is the most capable and most advanced version of the lithography machines, which are they called as, which are in supply in this world. And all these state-of-the-art companies like TSMC and even Samsung, they actually produce their high-end chips which are in huge demand for Nvidia and these AI companies. They have to use ASML machines. There is no absolute alternative. Even China is kind of getting all the machines from ASML, and ASML machines are very complex machine, and it's a kind of state of the art sci-fi kind of machine. And I will tell you like what is so special about this machine, and there is absolute no other business who can replicate this model. So here's a video of ASML, like what actually this EUV machines do. Let's give it a watch.
But to make transistors even tinier, the industry needs lithography machines that use radically shorter wavelengths. This EUV machine produces light at 13.5 nanometers. Compared to today's machines, that wavelength is more than 10 times smaller. Explain it simply. First, extreme ultraviolet light does not exist naturally on Earth, so we have to generate it. Because this tool is so large, it needs 3 floors in the fab. Its laser, about 15 times more powerful than ones used to cut steel, sits on the level below the clean room. A beam transport transmits the laser pulse up a floor into the EUV machine, where a generator fires tiny droplets of metal tin, each droplet only about 1/3 the diameter of a human hair. And that powerful laser, flashing at 50,000 times a second, hits the molten tin. The metal vaporizes into a plasma. This plasma releases light in the extreme ultraviolet range. A collector mirror gathers the 13.5 nanometer EUV light and shoots it to a scanner, where it pinballs off extremely precise mirrors that shape the light into slits that create patterns of transistors and interconnects onto a silicon wafer. How precise are the EUV machine's optics?
So here they will be telling like the precision of the laser optics by the ASML machines, and it's just like mind-boggling, right? Let's give it a watch.
Here's the math. It's analogous to an astronaut standing on the moon with a laser pointer targeting the tip of my fingertip here on Earth. ASML is already working on an improved version of the EUV tool that will offer even finer resolution.
So the scale of maths is like crazy. If you are shooting from moon, it has to land to a tip of my finger, right? On a Earth. Forget about landing on a city. It has to land on tip of my finger if I kind of shoot from moon. That is how the precise the ASML machines are, because it has to work in atomic scale, right? So ASML machines are actually monopoly in the world for extreme lithographic machines, which basically produces 2 nanometer chips, which is still not in production. I think ASML is going to have that in production in 3-4 years, and that is a state of the art kind of chips which will be produced by these machines, and there is no second company which can do that as of now. Also, these ASML machines are so big and complex that whenever they have to ship these machines, it basically needs 3 Boeing 747 flight, and the each machine weigh around 180 ton, and also basically it cost around like 300 million euro or something. So you can just imagine the complexity of the machine. So this is basically an article by TSMC where it is telling like it's trying to basically have the 2 nanometer chip for the AI and smartphones. And here if you can see, it's telling like the current chips which are basically will be produced by TSMC will actually have 10 to 15% boost in computational speed and around 20 to 30% reduction in power usage. And they are only able to do this because using the ASML machines, because ASML machines gives the capability to reduce the power usage as well as increase the computational efficiency. So if you see, ASML is a power company also, because currently what's happening is there's a lot of demand of power, and a lot of data center companies and power companies are having a lot of demand because of AI use. But people are missing that ASML itself is a kind of power play because it is increasing the computational efficiency by power ratio significantly, right? So all in all, I am very bullish at ASML. That is all, folks. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video, and hope to give you again a good portfolio update next week. Thank you everyone. See you again.